If any of them were able to escape alive. Well, I'm happy to hear that. Our neighboring countries have also been dealt a heavy blow, and recovery will likely require quite some time. I see. To be honest, providing you aid will also be a bit more difficult now, Mr. Irohappy. I couldn't argue with that. If they had been able to continue providing massive amounts of aid even after suffering such heavy damages, I would have been suspicious about where the money was coming from. We will provide what aid we can, but compared to what we had initially planned. Yeah, I understand. If I need money, I'll work it out on my own. On the contrary, I should probably have been helping gather reconstruction funds. I decided to bring up the plan I had been considering. Hey, aid doesn't have to be money, right? Indeed. In fact, other forms of aid would certainly be preferable considering our current situation. This is related to an issue I had noticed while leading the coalition army and something that I had been thinking about for a while. In that case, how about you grant me a territory? That's right, seeing as you and the others made me think about how the waves should be dealt with. At the same time, I figured it was the best I could do to show my thanks to Raptalia. Assuming the world achieved a state of peace, I wasn't planning on sticking around like some kind of fool. I'd return to my own world without hesitation. But what about Raptalia? For Raptalia, this world was her home. She had believed in me and stuck with me in both good times and bad, so she deserved a place where she could live out a happy life. The territory? That's not a problem. But may I ask why? Until now, you have been, pardon my rudeness, but you seemed indifferent about such things. I figured I should give her the official reason. The hero in the other world had trained a group of acquaintances to deal with the waves without the assistance of heroes. After careful consideration, I believe it will be necessary for us to do something similar. Ultimately, it is the us that defeated the spirit tortoise, but since I was limited to defense, it only made sense that the company I kept would become more and more important. I believe I understand your reasoning, Mr. Irohappy. Without the coalition, unused weapons, but the available resources would make anything more than that tough. I wasn't sure if we really needed anything more than that, but the fact that they were used meant they would have plenty of issues. With that in mind, I decided to go ahead and approach the old guy. I had the queen give me a territory, and I have a large-scale project in the works. It would be useful to have the old guy around to make weapons for the slaves, among other things. I figured it wouldn't hurt to ask. And what does that have to do with me? You could say I came here as a headhunter, if you catch my drift. If the old guy set up shop at the territory, that could be a source of income. I had confidence in his skills and I was sure he'd get plenty of business. I've already got this shop, you know. That I'm not trying to force you to do anything. I just figured, maybe you could take an apprentice or two. About it. Ah, so that's what you meant. Sure thing, kid. It said, I don't really think I'm good enough to be taking on apprentices or anything. Alright, he'd given me his word. Now I'd be able to have one of my more dexterous slaves become an apprentice of the old guy and learn his trade. Skill in a trade would mean money. Of course, I didn't plan to bite the hand that feeds me, or anything like that. Stop being so modest. I'm confident in your skills. I'll do my best not to let you down. Anyway, I've got a lot in the works. And the word among your associates for me. The location is... I told the old guy where my territory was and explained how the village would be my base of operations. I figured there would be plenty of people wanting to get in on a new project. If I only chose the ones I could trust from that group, I could expand my operations and that would lead to more profits. My territory was relatively close to the castle town, too. Got it? Well, we were all worried about you, kid, and it's a good opportunity, so there very well may be some takers. I have a debt to pay, so I plan to treat them well, and that's the too in your case, so think it over. Got it? After a bit of light-hearted conversation, the old guy gave me a long look. There's something else, isn't there? You can tell? You always show up with a million things at once, kid. I guess so. I didn't really want to show him, but I took off my cloak with one look. The old guy understood. What in the world is that? Old guy was staring at my Barbaro armor with his head cocked to the side. I took the armor off and put it on the counter. I chased the culprit that caused the spirit tortoise to go on a rampage to another world. When I got there, my barbarian armor had ceased to function, so I had a local blacksmith modify and reforge the armor. The result was this Barbaro armor. But now that I'm back, it has stopped functioning, too. Old guy stared at the Barbaro armor long and hard. He started poking at different parts of the armor as if to see how it responded. There's no problem with the core, but I can't say one way or the other about the rest without doing some testing. Can you fix it? It's possible. Give me some time. Sure, I'm counting on you. This shop is here just for you, right, kid? By the way, they're practically handing out materials from the beast now. If things work out, we might be able to make something out of them. There were more spirit tortoise materials than anyone could use. After all, I guess if I just thought of it as a thank you from Ost. No, I still felt a little bad. I'll go ahead and throw a few things together for you as long as you can pay me later. Would you? If it's a request from you, kid, the one and only, sure. Besides, working with strange new materials never gets old. This armor is really something. That blacksmith must have been quite the artisan. No doubt. Oh? Generosity despite my dubious financial circumstances. The old guy had a big heart that made me genuinely want to repay his kindness. To be honest, I really did want to recruit him to be my territory blacksmith. I wouldn't push the issue right now, though. But once I finished developing the territory, I'd try approaching him about it again. We should probably make the armor a top priority for now. Once that's finished. Go wrong with making a shield, right, kid? Agreed. If nothing else, I can just make a copy of the shield. You understood exactly where I was going with that. All right then, leave the armor and get out of here. I'm counting on you, Righto. The old guy removed the core stone from the armor and handed it to me. You hold on to the core stone for now, kid. You sure? Make it so that we can embed the stone afterward. You can pay me when it comes time for that. Thanks. Will you wear in the meantime? I'll just choose some old armor from the castle stores, so you do whatever needs to be done. Righto. What next? More, right? I nodded in response to the old guy's question. Next up is, I laid the angel breastplate on the counter along with the Myco outfit that Raftalia had been wearing. I wondered if I should show him the Fianl pajamas, too, but I decided to leave those for later. What's this? A breastplate and, a Myco outfit? That's some of the gear we were using in the other world. It stopped functioning just like the armor. Is there anything we can do? It was pretty exceptional, and if only we could make use of it, and considering how well the outfit looked on Raftalia, I had to ask even if it was unreasonable. This one was originally made out of the Fianl Cligaredia. The Fianl pajamas that Fianl has been wearing were, too, but those are functioning fine, so we don't need to worry about them. You bring me all of the tough ones. Who was wearing a Myco outfit? Anyway, the little miss? I nodded and then whispered to the old man so that Raftalia couldn't hear. The outfit looks super good on her, so I want to have her wear it in this world, too. Is there any way you could make it seem like she has no other choice for equipment? So that's your plan? Apparently Raftalia had heard me. I should have asked the old guy when she wasn't around. Oh, kid, did you really like the way the Myco outfit looked on the little mister much? Pretty much. I could tell you all about it if you're interested, but we might be here until midnight. I'll pass. Regular clothes might have worked great as armor in the world you went to, but they have their limits here. Actually, this is the kind of thing a seamstress or tailor would handle. That would be the lady who made Fianl's clothes, the one who looked like she would write Dutenshire or something. I bet she was chipper as ever. I'll hold on to it for now. But don't get your hopes up. Understood. Just do whatever you can. Mr. Nofumi, haven't you been treating me a bit like a dress-up doll lately? Call it a father's adoration for his daughter. Mr. Nofumi, what is that supposed to? I beat around the bush a bit to avoid answering Raftalia's questions. I was sure the old man wouldn't let me down. That should do it for now. I'll be back once I manage to make a bit of money, so see what you can do until then. Righto, studying this equipment of yours should keep me busy for a while. I'll be expecting something good. Wrapped things up and left the weapon shop. Chapter 4, E-Float Shield. Now then, I figured it wouldn't be a bad idea to talk to the Queen about my plans going forward. I was already planning on getting some old equipment from her anyway. We returned to the castle and asked where she was. She had just finished a meeting and was still in the room, wrapping up some paperwork. That's where we found her, behind a desk with mountains of paperwork piled up on top. Queen. Mr. What is it? It's alright if I take some equipment out of the storeroom, right? Yes. That's fine. Just be aware that much of it is damaged from the recent battle. I know. I just figured I could use it me behind. Fianl was still in a weakened state due to the effects of the curse, so I wasn't actually sure if she could carry anything too heavy. That made me think that maybe I should raise another Fianl. Yes. I was actually just about to summon for you, Mr. Iwatani. I've had the Spirit Daughter's materials rounded up at the training grounds in front of the storeroom, so please take what you need. Understood. I left the Queen and headed to the grounds in front of the castle storeroom. When I got there, I started going through the mountain of Spirit Daughter's materials that literally did cover the entire training grounds. Oh, come on. Eyeballs and brains came tumbling out of the pile. I mean, this had basically been a friend of mine, so, it just felt wrong, and then, all of a sudden, what? A pale light emanated from the spirit daughter's materials before they were absorbed into my shield, seemingly of their own accord. Spirit daughter's carapace shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's skin shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's flesh shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's bone shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's blood shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's body fluid shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's immune cell shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's muscle shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's cardiac shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's myocardium shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's blood vessel shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's eye shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's pupil shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's sacred tree shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's familiar bat type shield conditions met. Spirit daughter's familiar yeti type shield conditions met, etc. With spirit daughter's heart shield possibly unlocked. An absurd number of shields rolled by, probably enough to complete the spirit daughter's series. They all had high defense ratings. Wait a second. The spirit daughter's shields had all unlocked on their own. That spirit tortoise heart shield was really something. An image of the spirit tortoise appeared as a backdrop to the spirit tortoise series listing on the status screen floating in my field of vision. Now to check their stats. Oh, I noticed the shield that had been unlocked had a usable skill. Spirit tortoise carapace shield 040C equipped barrenness. Hilly float shield equipped effect. Gravity field. Sea soul recovery. Magic defense up. Large, mastery level, 0E float shield. Was that related to the airstrike shield? What kind of skill was it? I tried changing to the new shield and called out the skill E-float shield. The letters on showed up in my field of vision and a shield appeared in midair, so it was something like airstrike shield. After all, thinking so, I walked toward the shield, but it moved away the same distance that I had walked. Was it a shield that appeared with me as its axis? Distance-wise, the skill seemed to place somewhere between airstrike shield and shooting star shield. I was timing how long the skill lasted while I analyzed it, and it still hadn't disappeared. It lasted a long time. As I stood there, deep in thought, the E-float shield started to spin around right in front of my face. What was going on, and why was it in my face? Get away. The instant the thought crossed my mind, the shield moved away. So it was a magical shield that moved wherever I wanted it to? Now that would be convenient. It would be even more convenient than chain shield. That one had a restraining aspect that differentiated it from this skill, but still. The effect's range was around 1 meter. Considering it could be turned on and off, it would classify as a semi-passive skill. For my SP. It was dropping a small amount every 30 seconds. Not bad fuel efficiency at all. As long as I didn't use any other skills, it wouldn't even outpace my natural SP regeneration. I guess I should have expected as much from a shield that came from Spirit Daughter's materials. Chain shield. I used chain shield and the E-float shield changed its form to match. Oh, this was a convenient skill. For sure, only being able to produce one would be the limiting factor. As for the other shields, they were all good, numbers-wise, but most of them just increased stats or resistances. Being linked to the Spirit Daughter's heart shield seemed to have upgraded all their stats. On the other hand, the stats of the Spirit Daughter's heart shield itself had dropped a bit, as if to say it had served its purpose and was finished. Then again, I couldn't complain after all it had done for us. Mr. Nofumi, Ratalia and the others came running over to where I was taking a break after I finished experimenting with the shield. You get everything ready? Yes, all that's left is to stop by the slave trader's place. Alright then, let's head out. Okay. Joyfully pulled the cart while in her full Oleo form. I could tell she was struggling just a tiny bit. Her reduced stats probably did make the carriage feel heavy. After all, finished already? The queen wandered over as if she had just been out for a walk. And now, and you have what's left delivered to my territory. I'll use the meat to feed us for the time being. Food expenses would skyrocket for a while once the slaves started leveling up. It wasn't like I had no other ideas for securing provisions, but I had a lot of things to take care of, and I wanted to start with getting the territory set up. I'll have some of the soldiers sent over to help out, then feel free to use them as you see fit. Will do, thanks. We're going out for a bit to take care of some other things. Let me know if you need anything. I'll do whatever I can to help. Understood. We'll start with gathering building materials and implementing security measures to take care of thieves. We'll be heading over tonight, so have things ready on your end by then. Having rumors circulate about a hero loading up a bunch of slaves into a carriage and taking them away somewhere would be bad, so it made sense to leave during the night. I originally thought Philo might have trouble seeing in the dark, but her vision works just fine at night, so there would be no problem with making our move then. Understood. I nodded to the queen upon hearing her response, and we headed out of the castle and toward the slave trading camp. The slave coast preparations had been completed and the slaves were trembling with apprehension. I figured now was a good time to be strong with my orders. While Philo had started out slowly in the beginning, the Philo had been started. range. Oh, this is good. What is this? It's better than my mom's cooking. Yeah, what is this? Mr. No Feely is an excellent cook. Yeah, I love Master's cooking. The slaves were all getting along and devouring their food. This is superb. The shield hero's cooking is simply delectable. Yes, sir. During the commotion of getting everything ready, the slave trader and his assistant had slipped in with the slaves and were helping themselves to the food. I couldn't let it get to me. It wasn't my intention to... eat them, but they had provided the space, after all, so I decided to let it go. Do as you're told. And this won't be the last time I cook for you. I expect you all to work like you mean it. The slaves continued eating and nodded in response. They could just consider its celebration in advance. If things were going to get busy from here on out, they needed to be well nourished or they wouldn't last. After finishing our meal, we set out into the night with the slaves, the slave trader, and his assistant in tow, making our way through the castle town and then departing for the territory. Chapter 5. The Castle Territory. We made our leisurely march through the night with Fianl pulling the carriage, and we reached the part of the territory near Rathtally's village by morning, Master, where he lived. According to the king, Claire and the others were not staying in the village that Rathtally had lived in, but rather in a neighboring town. We kept going, and after a short while, we arrived at a town that looked a bit run down. Oh, now remarked Soldier. The same young soldier that had asked to join me during the second wave. Actually, is standing near the entrance to the town. He is young. Long time no see. Indeed, I was there during the Spirit Forces incident but didn't get a chance to talk to him. I had to give him some serious props for making it out of that alive. It was a close fight with heavy losses, so the fact that he had been there made me shudder. We received word that you would be coming. I assume you want to meet with Lady Eclair and Princess Melody. Yeah, I figured I should at least say hello before anything else. This way, then. We followed the soldier into the town. It had been reduced to ruins. The streets were lined with a variety of buildings, including houses that had been destroyed, perhaps by the rain, as well as others that still looked usable. It didn't seem like it had been a very big town. Even the town mansion looked pretty average and wasn't as big as the ones I'd seen in other towns. The young soldier said something to the gatekeeper, who then opened the gate without hesitation. Hi. Could hear some kind of shouting coming from the mansion courtyard. I climbed down from the carriage and made my way in that direction. The old lady, and 3 other kids that I didn't recognize were training in the courtyard. Mr. Where were they? Noticing I should have guessed. The pair stopped the spinning and waved to us. I smell no trouble. I let go of the carriage and ran off into the mansion. I was everything. I was feeling, long time no see. I heard all about it. He went to another world and defeated the bad guy, right? Yeah, we took him out. I'll tell you all about how he died later. I wanted to be there, too. Phil stamped his foot in regret. The reason he couldn't come with us was because he'd fought recklessly and had to get his injuries treated. Here, are your injuries all healed up? I'm all good. They weren't that bad thanks to you, brother. It's been a while. Ellie smiled as she approached Phil. The other kids that had been standing at Phil's side backed away several steps. Speechless, surprised. Right? That's Rathtally. No way. What? Is it really Rathtally? He looks completely different. That's funny. Rathtally jumped up onto Rathtally's shoulder and howled. That was Rathtally's voice. This little thing? What is that? It sounds like your voice, Rathtally. Just ignore this little thing. It's a shikigami that was made using a lock of Rathtally's hair. Then, is Cornelia's name. Her name is Rathtally. Be nice to her. Oh, so she's kind of like Rathtally's alter ego? Don't say that. I left Rathtally and the others to rekindle old friendship and went to talk with Eclair and the old Hendon Musa lady. How have things been progressing? You're working on rebuilding the territory, right? About that. Dot. Eclair's mood suddenly darkened. My student Eclair here has been training quite hard. The reconstruction, on the other hand, has not seen much progress, interjected the old Henjin Muso lady. Oh? Though it was so bad even the old lady could tell. Hadn't the queen said that Melty was helping out? I fully intend to follow in the footsteps of my late brother and rebuild the territory, but, I haven't been able to find much help. It seems it will take quite some time, Clara explained. Well, your father's connections can only take you so far. I'm sure the Church of the Three Heroes made things a lot worse, too, from what I hear. Raftalia's family had died along with many of the villagers. On top of that, I'd heard that many of the survivors had been captured and sold into slavery. After all, you can't expect the people that originally lived here to return if most of them are dead. Not to mention, the residents that were made slaves were all sold off before the queen could secure them. You're trying to locate them now, right? That's right. We're working behind the scenes to do everything we can to bring them back. And what happens when you do? Let's say you find 10, maybe 20 of them. Are you just going to throw them into the ruins of a town and say, all right, rebuild your town? Is that your plan? Eclair fell silent. So it was seriously her plan? Try thinking ahead a bit. I couldn't help but sigh. Eclair had an overly serious personality that made her an excellent knight, but she lacked the qualities that made for a good governor. Hey, where is nice guy? The guy that was taking care of you, or even one of the country's leaders building. We need someone to drill you in the basics of reconstruction. I pointed at Eclair and spoke bluntly. How dare you? She snapped. Just then, Fianl came running up, pulling Melty along behind her. Mo-chan, Master is over here. I know, calm down, Fianl. Melty, perfect timing. What were you thinking letting this knucklehead govern a territory? Are you stupid? We meet again after all this time and that's what you have to say to me? Just what do you think makes me unfit to govern? Eclair's furrowed brow made it clear she was upset. Seriously? I'm sure Melty has noticed this, too, but Eclair, you obviously understand absolutely nothing about what governing a territory entails. What? I'm certainly no expert, but I still understand what's necessary to manage a territory and make it livable. I looked at Eclair and pointed to a chair. Melty subtly instructed her to sit down for me. Raftalia and the others. I'd just leave them to getting caught up for now. We were going to be busy with other things soon. After all, first of all, governing a territory is about more than just owning the land. The people that live on that land are important. I understand that much. That's why I'm trying to bring the people that lived here back. I'm saying that just bringing them back isn't enough. I drew a picture of some people on the ground. That would represent the population. To rebuild the territory, you'll need people, clothes, food, and housing. Securing food would come first. In a world like this, hunting monsters and using them for food would be quickest. Next will be a base of operations for daily life, housing and the like, and then there would be clothing. That would include equipment, too, in this world. As for the people, I totally get wanting to prioritize the people that originally lived here, those that were lost. But it's not realistic. It's not about how much we can prioritize them. There simply aren't enough of them. I know that. Princess Melty is working on that. I am. But there haven't been many people interested in taking part in the reconstruction. My mother seems to believe that your involvement, no Fumi, will make residents of Siltveld and elsewhere want to cooperate, though. That may very well work in our favor, but let's be realistic. Time is limited. We need to be snatching people up freely. Of course, this was at Raftalia's village, so it's not like I needed to say anything, but still, I don't really know what being nobility in this country entails, but establishing a safe living environment is what you need to be focusing on right now. Oh, but isn't it just horrible to be stuck with rebuilding some ruined territory with no future? Eclair hung her head upon hearing my words. What were you doing during the 2.5 weeks I was gone? Praying? I'd say that's pretty accurate, said Lottie. No, I was working with Keel and the others to gather more people. We did make some suggestions to my mother. She also sent one of her best to help out here at the mansion. We've made some progress with repairing the buildings, too. Lottie gave me a quick report of the situation. I guess they were doing something, at least. And I guess you planned on moving on to the neighboring village once you finish rebuilding this town? Lottie and Claire nodded in response. I said, well, do whatever you want. I'm technically the governor now, but I'll leave the reconstruction of the town to you two. Huh? Are you not going to help us, no Fumi? I plan on rebuilding the neighboring village as I see fit. I'll need to coordinate with you to do that. Though it's not like I'm just leaving everything to you and disappearing. There was no need for me to play boss and order Lottie or Clara around. We could all go about our own projects simultaneously. If my reconstruction plans went well, then people would naturally begin to gather here in this town, too. Now that that's decided. I snapped my fingers, and the slave trader and his assistant climbed out of the carriage, came over, and grabbed the 3 kids standing near QWH. What are you doing? No, stop. I thought they might remember you. They had been slaves before, after all, Brother Shield, don't tell me. Yeah, you've already been through this, haven't you? Yeah, that's right. You kids are going to rebuild your village, and the best way to do it is by becoming my slaves so that we can improve your abilities. I know that, but still, Mr. Mayfumi, I'm not sure that forcing a mace, Raftalia voiced her doubts with a worried look on her face. Don't worry, it's just a formality. No, I never want to be a slave again. The little brats were struggling with all their might. But the slave trader's assistant showed no sign of letting go. Mr. Iwata, you think you can rely on charity alone to bring back the village? Are you all just going to wait on a Claire and Lottie to rebuild it for you? Do you really think you'll get your village back that way? Seriously? The brats groaned in response to my questions. That's right. I'm sure they had already figured it out long ago. The villages that had been lost weren't coming back, and it was clear that things weren't going to get any better if they relied on a Claire. If you become my slaves, you can become strong like Raftalia here. She played a big role in the battle against the spirit tortoise. I've heard rumors, but, is that really true? Phil has gotten a fair bit stronger, too, hasn't he? Added, now that he mentions it, you do seem a lot stronger now, even though not much time passed before we were reunited. Really? I mean, right? Brother Shield made me his slave and leveled me up. Phil looked proud of himself, although he did rush into battle recklessly and end up in the hospital. Next time don't be so rash. I won't. I got left behind because of my recklessness. I definitely won't let it happen again. So there you have it. To put it another way, we've all been chosen by the Shield hero. So why resist? Become a slave. Become our hero's disciple and join me in my quest to rebuild the village. You've changed your world in this town. I'm a hero's disciple. Maintaining a hierarchy was important. Too many of the people in this world were slaves. I couldn't ignore the possibility that they actually believed that peace would come even if they just sat back quietly and waited. It's not like I can't find someone else to help me. But do you really plan? And when disaster strikes, Brother Shield, keep saving. I'm sticking with you. Phil came over and stood in front of me. I'm not really one to speak, but this kid was always getting swept up in the heat of the moment. I'm going to make it our village again. We're dancing. What about the rest of you? The other kids from Raptalia's village exchanged glances with each other. No, Fury may sound scary, but he's actually a very caring person. Lottie interjected with what seemed to be her idea of a show of support. To be honest, we won't be able to take care of you here forever. I think it would be best if you went with Nofumi and learned to take care of yourselves, if possible. Princess Lottie. Claire nodded as if Lottie had said something deeply profound. I don't see why not. No, Mimi has taken it upon himself to come help out. So why don't we all do what we can to work together and rebuild this territory? Added Melky, understood, friends of Reptilian. The decision is yours. We'll do everything we can to assist with the reconstruction, too. After Claire had finished making her declaration, Reptilia stepped forward and offered her friends an elbow. I think, instead of just standing by and watching, I think we should take it upon ourselves to get this done, right? Reptilia looked over in the direction of the village and then pointed at the flag flying on the shoulders. The flag that we lost back then. It's finally in language. I will do this to take them back first. Have the flag together, so please, work with us to make that happen. Reptilia's friends seem to be talking back away for a few moments, and then, okay, I'll do it. You know you're kidding, but you were saying you was Reptilia. Yeah, you said the same thing back when we were still living in the village. Yes, I did, everyone. Let's take back the flag. Yeah. The slave trader was starting to look a bit uncomfortable. He obviously wasn't okay with this kind of atmosphere. Now then, let us perform the slave curse ceremony. Yes, sir. We're going to work them like horses. I can't wait. You ha ha ha. I whispered to the slave trader and he perked up instantly. I feel a sudden surge of motivation. Yes, sir. Sweet heaps of hope and then reaping those benefits for yourself. My hat's off to you. Yes, sir. Was this guy really petite, or did he just revel in the suffering of others? Never. I've now officially received the token from the crowd, and so we set off for the village. Chapter 6. Leading the herd aside from Reptilia and Yoshi, I set out restrictions on all of the slaves so that the slave curse would punish them right if they didn't take things seriously. On our first day in the village, I went out with the slaves to start cleaning up the wreckage of the buildings that had been destroyed. This house is important to me. It's my home. That was Kira's scream. He'd come to the location where his house had been, apparently, but all that was left now was rubble in our way. There's nothing wrong with cherishing your home, but the roof has collapsed. And the ruins are destroyed beyond repair. I'm sorry, but you have to understand that there will be houses we can repair and others that we can't. I looked through the debris to see if there were any valuables or items that we could use, but everything I found was either covered in rust or wasn't anything we could use. Luckily the well was still usable. It would take a bit of work, but we could probably use the garden, too. I can understand wanting to preserve the memory, but if we're going to rebuild the village, then we need to get rid of anything that's just getting in the way. But, Keel, stop being selfish. Reptilia reprimanded Keel. I wasn't going to stop her. This used to be your house, right? Yeah. You're right. Then the new house that we build here will be yours, only it will be a communal house that you will manage. Will you join us? So I'm counting on you to manage it properly. And, you're right. We remembered and remembered. That's better. Fine. Okay. The instant he let his guard down, Fianl charged into the skeleton of the house and kicked down the supports, destroying the building. I left Keel standing there dazed and moved on to annex class. The building materials and partial soldiers sent by the Queen arrived before me. There was stone, lumber, and Last, is this the village you are rebuilding? Shield here? I was sure they had already heard from Claire and Marty, but the soldiers asked anyone. Yeah, I'd like to at least get something with a roof up by sundown. I know it's a lot to ask, but I'm counting on you. Leave it to us. Thanks. But for now, we'll leave the building to you soldiers. As for Reptilia, Yoshi, and Fianl. Yes? What is it? You responded when I called their names. I'm going to make lunch now. Once you three have finished eating, I want you to take the spades and go hunt monsters with them. Understood? Okay. I'll do my best. I'll leave it up to you to form parties. I'm guessing the experience probably won't be very good if you all hunt in one big group. I've never actually tried measuring it. How did experience points work when everyone fought together? Were they distributed somehow, or were they shared by everyone? I wasn't really sure how it worked. Does anyone know how experience works in groups? She raised her hand embarrassedly. I knew it. You can always count on Rishi at times like these, All members of the party receive experience points. The amount differs depending on abilities and level, but the distribution is unbiased. 6 people is the limit. Any more than that and the amount of experience begins to drop. Aha, so that's why Itiku and his group always left you out. I didn't actually say that, because all I've got is a live pig, and I'd had enough of those. As long as we split up into parties when going out in a big group, there shouldn't be any problem. We just form parties of 6 that should take care of the best win, and they're free. You might try inviting Iqbal, the old lady. Understood. I'll take care of assigning everyone. I made Raftalia the group leader and had her create the parties. We currently had a total of 10 slaves, so I had her assign 4 to Rishia and 3 each to Philo and herself. He put here with Rishia since he had already gotten stronger to a certain degree. Alright. We're going to make lunch now? Give me a hand. Okay. 3 of them got busy doing what they could to help with the preparations. You're not going to help cook, Raftalia? He'll calmly asked Raftalia, of me as I prepped the food. He had already recovered from his state of shock. That was quicker than I expected. Maybe it was because he was a cook. You're always a good cook, Raftalia. Raftalia glanced over at me with a look of uncertainty on her face. What? Was she expecting me to say something? I guess she wanted to show off a bit in front of her friends or something, because she finally said something after hesitating for a moment. How about I give you a hand? Oh, that's unusual. You don't have to if you don't want to. That's not it. You just worked so efficiently that there was never really anything for me to do. Oh, in that case, why don't you pack this meat out for me? It might end up tasting better being cooked by the cook on a vessel weapon instead of a normal kitchen knife. Understood. Now that Raftalia is helping, what should I make? I guess you could never go wrong with grilling items. Make sure you cut against the grain or the texture. Again, I know you're not cuisine, but if you have some kind of skill to break down monsters or animals, then it should show you where to cut. Okay. Other than that, I guess I could make a stew, maybe. I'd have to skim off the bone, though, and that always made preparing stews alone. We didn't have many ingredients. We were naturally limited in what we could make. Something with vegetables could work, but I didn't want to get too since the slaves would just devour anything I made in an instant anyway. Oh, why not? It felt like a bit of a race. Since Raftalia was helping out and all, I figured I'd throw up another dish with cilantro, too, that smells good, doesn't it? Yeah, not bad. Should we make a soup, too? Or we could just save some of this meat and turn it into a soup, Raftalia. Yes? I'm going to throw some hamburg steaks together, too, so help me mince this meat. Understood. We worked quickly, cooking up all of the dishes. Raftalia had mentioned that her parents taught her how to cook, and I could tell she knew what she was doing more than most. But now that I thought about it, I'd hardly ever cooked with her. Do you have a special family recipe or anything like that? You could say that. Couldn't make it with the ingredients we have, though. Well, maybe I'll have you make it once we get the ingredients you need, then. Having a female friend cook had always been a dream of mine. Actually, none of my friends had ever really been the cooking type, though. Now I could look forward to finding out what Raftalia's family recipe tasted like. Afraid of all of the mistakes you'd point out if I tried making it for you. That wasn't the response I was expecting to hear from Raftalia. Think I'm some kind of food snob, aren't you? No way. It wasn't like I had ever complained about anyone else's cooking. Just what kind of person did Raftalia think I was? I wanted to live up to her expectations as much as possible, but a food snob? was unexpected. If any of us was a food snob, it would have to be Fianl or Raptalia. Fianl was especially picky about flavor. Okay then, I'll make it for you sometime. Good. I'm looking forward to it. Perfume. I loved how Raptan hopped up onto Raptalia's shoulder and started chirping. Hey, everyone, Raptalia and I cooked lunch for you. Hurry up and eat, and then off you go. It's super good this time, too. Yeah, it's so good. The slaves all dug in with big smiles on their faces. I went ahead and served the soldiers that were building houses for us to eat this might be the most delicious grilled meat I've ever had. You're kidding, right? This can't be that same turtle meat. They served the same thing at the castle, but it was nowhere near this good. My shields cooking enhancement really was something. There was probably a synergistic effect with the enhancement from Raptalia's hit that made everything that much better. Maybe rubbing the meat with salt and spices during prep made a difference, too. The hamburg steaks were gone in the blink of an eye. The slaves all had their share of my cooking, considering how they would be when they got back from leveling up. Yeah, I'd have to prepare even more food or there wouldn't be enough. Okay everyone. I'm going to give each of you a weapon, so get out there and fight. Gave the slaves their orders and they began to panic. I handed each of them one of the old weapons that I had gotten from the castle storeroom. Most of them were short swords meant for beginners. One of the young female slaves was standing there completely pale with her blade in hand, looking just like Raptalia had at first. If you refuse to fight, you'll feel a burning in your chest, so be prepared. Remember, you'll never get your village back that way. We get it, Bubby Shield. We're ready to fight, so you just wait. At least someone was showing some enthusiasm. It's not like I can't find someone else to replace you all. I'm just trying to turn this place into a territory again. But since Raptalia has always done as I asked without arguing, I decided to reward her by inviting you all to take part. Don't get the wrong idea. I've gotten used to playing the bad guy since coming to this world. It's not like I was here to do charity work. I would be going back to my own world eventually. Anyway, so it's not like I needed to worry about this place. I just wanted to create a place where Raptalia could live her life in peace. He has a sharp tongue, but he's a good person, so don't hold it against him. Raptalia added some uncalled for words of support. I was supposed to be the villain here. Okay then. I know. You load the defeated monsters onto the cart and bring them back. We have plenty of uses for them. Okay. They would be our food for the time being, Master. What kind of monsters do you want? Ones with plenty of meat, if possible. If you get some of those sheep-looking monsters, then I can make sausages. Okay, I'll see if I can find some. I pointed to Fianl's carriage and ordered the slaves inside. They hesitantly climbed aboard, and Fianl set off to take them hunting. Watch your speed. Okay. Fianl's carriage rattled off into the distance. Of course, she couldn't actually go all that fast while still suffering from the effects of the curse. Now then, I'll leave the construction up to you guys. Of course. I left the construction to the soldiers, set my shield to take care of some compounding, and got started on the preparations for our next meal. It would still be a while before the monster eggs were ready to hatch. I'd have to come up with a way to secure more food before we ran out of spirit tortoise meat. The slaves that had gone out hunting with Raptalia and the others were back by nightfall. They were all completely worn out. The cart that I had attached to the carriage was loaded up with slain monsters. It looked like they had found some sheep-type monsters, too, just like I requested. We all grumble, rumble, rumble, so hungry, The growling of their stomachs sounded like thunder. Their bodies were growing rapidly and needed nutrition, and that made them ravenous. Glad to see you all made it back. Did they put up a good fight? Yes, they all did their best. I'm exhausted. Well, if they did their best, then that's good enough. Let's eat. I brought out the stew and steaks that I had prepared in advance using the spirit daughter's meat and placed them on the table. I figured it would turn out like this, so I either made a ridiculous amount of food. It was a ton of food, but it would still probably disappear in a heartbeat. Filled with excitement, the slaves gathered around the table and started eating. Master, what about me? Yours is right here. I gave Philo her portion. He got about 50% more than the growing slaves. Is that all? I want more. If you want more, then go hunt something yourself and eat that. Boo. Philo was sulking. That's too bad. I had already made a ton of food. I couldn't manage any more than this on my own. Thank you for the meal. What? They had already finished while Philo and I were talking. I knew that children were supposed to have fierce appetites, but come on, I hope they were satisfied. At least, all right, rats. Tomorrow we'll be here in no time. Get to bed. Okay. We herded the slaves into one of the houses that had been repaired by the soldiers from the castle. The rest of us would stay in the other house that was still being patched up. The windows were broken, so the wind blew right through, but the roof would shield us from rain. I'll sleep with the others. Yeah, see if you can help them get settled in a bit. I will. Raphael left to go sleep with her old friends. Philo was already half asleep and nodding off. Rishi was busy deciphering the manuscripts that she had received from Kazuma and the others. She had more stamina than you would have guessed. I got to work compounding in preparation for the next part of my plans. I checked the levels of the slaves while I waited. It looked like they had all reached around level 15. On average, their stats had increased across the board, too. Judging from my experience with Raptalia's growth, I'd want them to reach level 30 at the very least. And that included the ones that weren't suited for battle, too. After some time had passed, I heard a knock on the door. It was Raptalia and He had brought several young female slaves with her. What is it? Well, Raptalia seemed like she wanted to ask me to do something, but she was mumbling. Spit it out. Did she expect me to figure it out on my own or something? Did they wet the bait? That's not it. Go on. Ask Mr. Milfuni yourself. Their stomachs growled, and the slave girls hung their heads in shame. I get it. I should probably make enough to feed the other brats too, right? I headed out to the cooking area outside and started preparing a meal. Jeez, they had gotten hungry again quick. I cut up the monsters they had brought back from hunting and decided to make some simple skewers. Cutting the meat into small chunks was too much trouble, so I just roasted the correct monsters home. Once we got things going, we'd need to form a cooking crew as soon as possible, or I'd have no time for myself. And so the next day arrived. All right. Listen up, everyone. I'm sure you enjoyed your midnight snack, but our food supplies are growing scarcer by the day. We need to make up the losses with hunting. In other words, I'll be deciding what to cook based on what you bring back. Got it? Yeah. They were almost too submissive. It weirded me out a little bit, but I guess it was fine if they were showing initiative. I'll have dinner ready tonight, but the next meal isn't guaranteed. You can learn. Okay. Last night was rough. They kept asking for more no matter how much I cooked, and they had been genuinely hungry as far as I could tell. I felt like I had been cooking non-stop since we got here. I wasn't their mother after all. Once they had finished growing to a certain degree, I planned to train them to handle a variety of different tasks. I just have to hold out until then. Thank you for the meal. You're welcome. Get out there and fight, and don't come back until evening. Okay. Everyone looked more cheerful than they had yesterday as they climbed into Philo's carriage. I wasn't letting Philo go crazy with the speed, so I hoped that the slaves wouldn't get the usual motion sickness common with her carriage rides. It would be good if they reached around level 20. On average, by the time they got back, securing food supplies would need to be our immediate focus. There was always that. But if I used it and then said it again, what might happen? Listen, it had helped us under the tight spots of the thing, and it looked like it was time to relent on its account once again. Chapter 7, Inform the Final Plan. but I realized all its smiles on their faces despite being better to mind when they got back. All different who I live in the head than yesterday. On the other hand, Richie looked pretty exhausted, but Tanya and Fianl didn't really show any sign of being alright. Then again, they were both pretty strong even with the curses of bikes on face. I see that. Did you all do your best at their hunting again today? Yeah. That really did not say. The adaptability of children really was an amazing thing. It was only the second day and they had already adjusted. We were right there. Dinner was ready, as promised. They shoveled the food I had prepared into their mouths. Now then, rough time. Yes? After dinner, I'm going to do something. What? Something that might make me mad. And what is that? It's jungle time. It helped us, I think, in Christina's world. What? I seem to understand what I meant. Face turn there. Are you going to pack that thing? Yeah, this place is just a barren wasteland. Anyway, it's perfect, right? But still, it may very well cause problems with the sail down the road, but I did ask the slave trader to choose monsters that could be used to work the land. Understood. Desperate times call for desperate measures, I guess. I'm glad you understand. Considering efficiency, it really is the only choice. Raptalia was all about efficiency, but she also kind of worried about keeping up appearances. Now that I thought about it, Lark and the others had gotten onto me about her upbringing. She had picked up my habit of haggling over prices. Being told about it objectively like that did make me feel a little bad about it. I also wanted to take this chance to do a little bit of research. I'm thinking, maybe I can get it to grow some medicinal herbs, too. Wait a minute, don't tell me you plan to modify it even further? I do. I want to grow something that can make us some money, if at all possible. That's right. I needed money if my plans were going to succeed. Rebuilding a village with 10 or so slaves just wasn't possible, and that wouldn't change much, even if the slave trader did manage to deliver more of the slaves I'd asked for. Don't worry, I won't be making any crazy modifications that might make it difficult to manage. Producing food supplies is the priority until the slaves are grown up enough to handle problems on their own. Really? Please do be careful. I know. I couldn't afford to do anything that might result in a radical failure, but beyond that, I had to do what I could. I planned to have the slaves help earn money, too, not just fight, and while I was mulling over such things, all the food I cooked vanished. Thank you for the meal. You're welcome. I could hear a clamor of voices as they all talked to each other excitedly. It had only been a few days since we had arrived, but they all seemed to have adjusted to their new life for the most part, and Keel and the other 3 from the village were already familiar with the area. Having grown up here, I was sure this had to be better for their mental health than living the usual life of a slave. At least, all right, everyone, I have something important to say, so listen up. The slaves were listening with their heads cocked to the side, just like Philo did. Everyone come with me. I walked over to the garden and then checked to make sure they had all followed. I have a single seed here. It's a seed from a plant that caused a bit of trouble in a village to the southwest of here. The castle soldiers seemed to be familiar with the story. They started whispering to each other. I made some improvements to that plant, and this seed is the result. All got hungry last night and ended up eating in the middle of the night, right? Phil nodded. You have to understand that I won't be able to cook every day like this forever. The shield here is cooking is so good. Yeah, I want to eat your cooking every day. I can't get any work done if I'm always cooking for you all. Of course, if you've worked hard enough to earn it, I'll indulge you all and cook something up. When it came to development and reconstruction efforts like this, securing food supplies had to be the top priority. That meant that there was only one thing to do. Now then, starting tonight, when you get hungry and I'm not cooking, this is what you are going to do. I dropped the seed onto the soil and poured some water over it. It sprouted and began to shoot up right before everyone's eyes. The bio plant grew to a height of around 3 meters tall and began to produce large fruit that resembles tomatoes. I've restricted the plant's reproduction to a certain degree, but it should fill this garden before the night has ended. Your job is to manage this plant. What, Dot, are we supposed to do? If it grows beyond the specified area, you trim it. With said, I plan to set aside a good amount of land, so you won't need to cut it for a while. It's up to you to pick the fruit. But fruit, Dot, is it edible? Yeah, as far as I know. They're still producing them in the village to the southwest. I have seen them being sold as a local specialty in the castle town. I'm fairly certain they were cooking with them, too. Feel free to eat some if you get hungry, but if you notice any kind of problem, find an adult and tell them. That's all. I picked one of the first looking fruit and tossed it to fire. I could tell by her face that she was still hungry, and she gobbled it right up. Several of the slaves followed suit and started eating along with her. This is amazing. Yeah, I thought there was no way we were going to rebuild the village at first, but I'm starting to think that with this guy on our side, it might actually be possible. Was it just me or were they looking at me like I was some kind of strange being? If things went well managing this fruit, why not?